Earth. It's so magical to think that no life exists beyond this planet till now. So the diversity of organisms we see now is just the cause of rapid evolution caused over millions of years. So I would like you to ask you a question. What are the first organisms on the earth? If you know, comment down, and if you want to know all of these informations from me, so stay tuned till the end to find. So hello friends, welcome to Factrometer. In this video, I am going to give you a brief history of the earth. So without wasting any time, let's get started. We are going to look at the past, without a time machine of course, but by theories, researches, fossils, etc. So to begin with, let's go back to 4.6 billion or 4 billion 600 million years. At this point of time, the earth had not formed yet, but our sun had just started forming. It was called the proto-sun. As our earth hasn't formed yet, we have nothing to do in this time period. So let's go forward a bit, around 4.54 billion years or 4 billion 540 million years ago. Our earth had formed, but it was impossible for any form of life to survive there. The surface temperature reached 4700 degrees Celsius and there was nothing except molten rocks flowing on the planet's surface and a deadly atmosphere which comprised of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, sulfur and water vapor. Instead of water oceans, the earth had lava oceans and the newly formed earth was bombarded every time with asteroids, which seems to be the end of the planet rather its beginning. After several million years, around 4.5 billion or 4 billion 500 million years ago, an unusual thing happened to the earth. A small planet about the size of Mars called Theia collided with the earth. This theory is known as the giant impact theory. This collision resulted forming the moon. The moon is also a savior of the earth's life. More on this in the later videos. Back then, one day of the earth lasted just 6 hours because the newly formed earth hadn't yet stabilized on its axis. So around the time period of 4.1 billion years to 3.8 billion years, which is a time span of 300 million years. In this period of time, a huge number of asteroids hit the earth. This event is named as the Late Heavy Bombardment. According to a theory, scientists believe that these asteroids brought the life-giving water with them. That's how, over millions of years, the half of the planet's water came to the earth through space. After the Late Heavy Bombardment ended, which is around 3.8 billion or 3 billion 800 million years ago, the temperature of the earth slowly started to decrease. But the current form of life couldn't survive on the planet anyway because there was no oxygen and the ozone layer to block the harmful UV rays. But the earliest fossils, which were around 3.5 billion or 3 billion 500 million years, suggest that non-oxygenated life may have started much earlier than we think. Around the time period of 3.2 billion years and 2.8 billion years, which is a time span of 400 million years. In this time period, the whole earth was covered with a shallow ocean, but the temperatures were quite high, which ranged from 55 degrees to 88 degrees Celsius. But the microbial life had started evolving in this hot water, and the landscapes were just volcanic islands, which were growing gradually over time. Around 2.5 billion or 2 billion 500 million years ago, the first supercontinent called Kenorland began to form, and the days began to lengthen around 18 hours at that time. So let's fast forward 1 billion years. 1.5 billion or 1 billion 500 million years ago, the days lasted over 19 hours and the Earth's axis was very slowly stabilizing. And the complex form of life still didn't exist, but the Earth's lithospheric plates continued moving. In the time period of 1.1 billion years to 900 million years, another supercontinent called Rodinia formed and broke apart 750 million years ago. According to a popular theory, The Earth around 650 million years ago was literally a snowball. This theory is known as the snowball Earth. The scientists state that everything was covered under the ice and the temperature of the equator was even cold as the modern day Antarctica. So it's scary to think what must have been the temperature at the poles. Even under this thick sheet of ice, the volcanoes erupted and released carbon dioxide. After some million years, the carbon dioxide accumulated in the atmosphere gradually melted the glaciers. This melting released a huge amount of oxygen which forever changed the planet. Around 541 million years ago, the Cambrian explosion occurred. Temperatures were decreased to 30 degrees Celsius, and a record concentration of oxygen caused a huge number of living organisms to emerge. The biological diversity was so high that some organisms developed exoskeletons to protect them from being eaten. Scientists and researchers believe that most of the existing animals appeared during this period. The length of the day had reached around 22 hours. Around 450 million years ago, plants and arthropods or spiders began to live on the land. 31 million years later, around 419 million years ago, the first insects began to live on the planet. 330 million years ago, the most famous supercontinent began to form, which is known as Pangaea. Around 300 million years ago, most of our planet was covered with swamps. But the trees of the swamps were so tall, around 30 meters or about 100 feet, with giant insects flying here and there. These plants and animals were huge because of the high concentration of oxygen in the atmosphere. Meganeuropsis permiana was an insect and a close relative of a modern day dragonfly, which is also the largest insect discovered yet. Its wingspan was about 28 inches or 71 centimeters. There were many mass extinctions which happened earlier, but the Permian-Triassic mass extinction, which happened around 252 million years ago, was the largest mass extinction ever happened, killing almost 96% of the marine species and 73% of the terrestrial vertebrate species. Volcanic eruptions are suspected to be the major cause of the mass extinction. The atmosphere was filled with ash and carbon dioxide, and due to volcanoes, lava was flowing everywhere. This environment was very harsh for most of the animals, and after this event, oxygen in the atmosphere was decreased a bit. In the late Triassic period, the dinosaurs arrived, but they fully flourished in the Jurassic period, also known as the Age of Reptiles. Around 175 million years ago, the supercontinent of Pangaea started breaking apart, and the world started taking the current phase. At this point of time, you could find the first pine trees, praying mantises, and the bees. As the time was passing by, the dinosaurs kept flourishing on the Earth's surface, but their end was near. Around 66 million years ago, the most known mass extinction, the KT or Cretaceous Tertiary mass extinction, happened, which killed most of the dinosaurs on Earth. This extinction is suspected to be caused by a falling asteroid which killed these species. This event is so famous that most of you might know about this. After this mass extinction and the age of reptiles, around 50 million years ago, the power of the planet has been passed on to mammals. Mammals were growing at a staggering rate in the absence of dinosaurs, and the length of a day had reached almost 24 hours. The temperature of the Earth has also reached near the 24 degrees Celsius mark. Another significant event happened during 175 million years ago, when the supercontinent of Pangaea broke apart. It was divided into Gondwana and Laurasia. After some million years, they broke apart to form the current world, but India was a part of Africa back then. But around 50 to 40 million years ago, India broke apart from Africa, and after millions of years, it collided with Asia, forming the mighty Himalayas. The mammals on the planet kept flourishing, but about 8 to 4 million years ago, an important split occurred. According to scientists, the ancestors of modern apes began separating from our ancestors, each heading down their own evolutionary path. About 4 million years ago, again there was a change in the climate of the planet. These changes resulted in dense forests of the earth changing to savannas. According to a theory, this is what made up our ancestors to climb down from the trees, stand up straight, and start looking for food. These climate changes also affected other animals which lived in the forests. 1.4 million years ago, Homo erectus began to spread all across the Eurasia. 790,000 years ago, our ancestors knew how to use the heat and light produced by fire. Around 300,000 years ago, the Homo sapiens appeared, the wisest of all human races. 130,000 years ago, the population of all humans on Earth was around 100,000 to 300,000 individuals. And in the race of conquering the planet, only the Homo sapiens were able to do it. Now, the population of humans is 7.996 billion people residing in this giant blue ball, which was once glowing red and was showing its uninhabitability and now showing its diverse life forms evolving here and will continue evolving. Or wait, surely, will we continue evolving till eternity or not? Who is challenging the evolution of humans? If you know, comment down below. And if you want to know from me, stay tuned for the next video on who is challenging humans and their evolution by getting developed from the hands of humans. So that is it for today. If you like this video and love to watch these types of informationally entertaining videos, consider subscribing this channel and following me on Instagram. Link is in the description. And please consider watching these awesome videos. I'll be publishing more and more interesting videos in the future. So till then, this is Factrometer signing off. Till then, stay tuned and enjoy.